let's move to the Olympics. I know you watched last night's game. I watched it. I was visiting my parents, and we watched it. And man, they were critical. Now, my parents have been watching soccer for a long time, but they're not like avid soccer fans. But first half, my mom was just like, "This game sucks. We suck. What is wrong with us?" That's the depth of. That's what you're going to get, right?
Well, I mean, they're not only our depth, but this is like some of our depth of depth,
Yeah.
There are some players that we were like that, obviously there's a lot of players that are qualified that could fill those roles that can't be brought in. And then there were definitely some MLS players that were going to be brought in that couldn't be brought in. So again, some of these players are depth of depth.
Yeah. And, that first half, listen, I heard that as Mihailovic said during the halftime, that Kreis gave them a butt spanking at halftime. And I'm hoping that was an actual just alliteration, or excuse me, at least an analogy, but it's not literal. Because I don't know what Kreis said, but Kreis should take some fucking responsibility for that first half. They played the way he told them to play.
Calm, slow down, pass it around. I think they've been watching too many Chelsea games recently as far as that passing around in the back was concerned. It was just from right to center to left, back to center, back to right, back to center, back to left. And it was just like, oh my God, make a pass forward for the love of God.
Exactly. You know what it reminded me of? I know you say some of the Chelsea games. It reminded me of the early Berhalter games for the United States men's national team. And it looked like it. It smelled like it. It stunk like it, too. All these players looked so constipated out there, like they weren't able to take a risk. Like all these little short, dinky passes. Nobody was willing to do like a through ball or take a risk and make a move or take the guy on one-on-one. Nobody wanted to take on anybody one-on-one in that game.
Well, the problem stemmed in especially in that first half, was your center trio, Cardoso, Pereira, and Yule, they completely canceled each other out. They were playing the exact same role, but there were three of them there.
Yes.
None of them wanted to make that killer through ball. Nobody was distributing properly. They're making simple 5-10 yard passes back and forth and not really progressing anywhere. You needed to have somebody with a little more offensive mindedness in there. And that came in the second half. Yeah,
it did. And thank God, because after the first half, my dad's like, "Man, I'd rather watch paint dry." he did. He's like, "I'm out of here. I'm going to go watch."
It was just boring. We had a couple of chances that could have resulted in goals. I think it was more incidental than anything.
Yeah, Cardoso.
Yeah.
Yep. That header.
Oh man, that header should have gone anywhere but straight at the keeper. Man, he had a wide open chance there.
Yeah, that was disappointing. I wouldn't judge Cardoso on this one game, and I know you're not going to either. But it was pretty disappointing, and that was like my number one point coming out of the game. He was the one guy I was most excited to watch, and he just let me down. And he didn't let me down. I know he didn't do it on purpose. I'm not taking it personally. It's just that I wanted to see what he could do. And I don't think that he just let himself down, but I think Jason Kreis maybe set him up to be let down.
There was like you mentioned it earlier, there was just no movement anywhere, which is why it resulted in those 5 to 10 yard passes, especially back to the defense, back to the center midfields, back to the wing backs, back to the center backs. It was just not moving forward, and there was really nothing going up top. I mean, we didn't have the energy up there.
No energy. Then the second half came. They brought in Sebastian Soto, who made really no impact on the game whatsoever, in my opinion. But they brought in Dotson, who I must apologize to personally, because I really didn't think he should even be on this team, and he's proven to be, in the first two games, the most active, best, unafraid, brave player that we have. honestly.
Well,
And that's
yeah, I will say, yeah, Dotson absolutely impressed me in this game. Of course, Mihailovic definitely set him up there, a number of times.
and he was
That
better.
helped. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's the offensive energy that we needed.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Soto not doing much of anything. He was like a couple of plays. He was just like an inch or two off from getting a chance on goal, anyways. So I mean, I'm not saying he did anything, but he was in the right spot. It was just unfortunate positioning. I still agree that he really didn't do much of anything.
Well,
but he was there at least.
He came in for Jesus Herrera, who was doing nothing,
and he was getting super frustrated. None of the balls he was getting frustrated because none of the balls were going towards him. They were going out wide, and nothing. He had nothing to do. I felt bad for him, in all honesty.
Yeah, I don't know if that's all his fault. He certainly was frustrated, and I agree with his frustration. It was chicken shit ball in the first half. Is really what it was, and he didn't want to be a part of chicken shit ball, and I don't blame him. But at the same time, he
was checking back into our center midfield our midfield half.
I know,
just to get the ball,
Yeah,
he was past Pereira and Cardoso at some points just to get a touch on the ball. I felt bad for the kid.
Yeah, and I still So Soto came in and didn't really do much different actually, but it was Mihailovic and Dotson who came in and really made a difference. Salcedo, I guess people think he's going to start the next game too, but boy, I was unimpressed. He still has one foot, and it's called the right one.
Was it Holden that was commentating? I think he mentioned it'd be interesting to see if he was in one of the center three, like more of an offensive-minded center three, because he would at least try to take players on and try to create. And maybe he's just not. Maybe he's not being utilized properly out left, or out right, depending on which flip around. But
if you play him out right, he could cross the ball. But you notice every time he got it out wide on the left, he never went left. He cut inside every time.
He didn't go out. He didn't go left, but he definitely tried to dribble into people.
Yeah, because he has no left foot. That's his problem. Yeah. Like, he does not want to go down the line and cross it because his left foot is awful.
Well, and quite frankly, that's how Berhalter's top three are considered. Anyways, you're wanting your left outside to cut in and either have that shot right or try to place it. And same thing with the left, or outright. You cut into and use your left. So maybe if he only has a right foot, that makes sense. He should be out left. But again, I think it'd be more interesting to see him more in the center as a trial. And since we're looking at a game where we're already qualified, do you think Berhalter is going to go for more of a let's relax and recover and get ready for that semifinal game, or do you think he's going to come balls to the wall?
I mean, he's mixed it up so much already that I don't think anybody's going to be really exhausted except for Jackson Ewell.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a good point.
And so I think that I'd like to see Ochoa again. I think he was the best part of the first game. I think he's going to be an amazing goalkeeper going forward. So I'd like to see
even if you have JT ahead of him, this is a great opportunity against Mexico, because we've already qualified. Why not give him the minutes?
Yep. I agree. I mean, we've already qualified. Save JT if you really think he's the best goalkeeper. But then again, Ochoa's had a lot of injuries before this, and that might play into how much time he's going to get. And they might not want to piss off, RSL and play him like game after game and risk an injury. But, maybe Marcin Kelsey didn't really get a chance to show like he's a great player in this last game because there was like no pressure on us at all. So, I mean, that's what I'd like. I'd like to see some different players. But then again, some of the guys that are doing well, I'd like to see them continue to play. Dotson, maybe Mihailovic is better off the bench. I don't know. I thought Michelle came in and did pretty decent as well.
I thought he was a little slow at first, like just getting his getting up to par. But I think he definitely reached up there at the end.
Yeah.
It was just a slow takeoff, but then once he got up to the point, it was good. I will say in that first half, the only bright spot really was Lewis. I thought he was the only one that was willing to take players on successfully and try to create something. Now, the finished product may not have been there, but at least I was impressed with him as far as what I had to be impressed with in the first half.
I'm going to let you say all that about Lewis, because I'm not.
Well, I'm saying he was the only bright spot in that first half. I'm not saying there was any bright spots really, but if I had to pick one,
Yeah, and Kessler wasn't awful. Again, Kessler and Glad didn't have much to do, but when they did their jobs. But Glad, for all the crap I give him, he's had a decent Olympics. He had some mistakes in game one, but Pineda had the worst mistakes. But then he had the redemption of the goal that he actually was the starting piece for. So I don't know. I'm sure
hard to gauge because you're talking about Dominican Republic versus Costa Rica and those center back pairings. I don't know. Kessler's in this game against Dominican Republic. Kessler's only blunder really was just getting beat pace to pace on that one play. I mean, but that's not necessarily saying anything against him. I mean, if you're not a super quick center back and you're facing somebody who is quick, it just takes one glimpse and you're gone.
Yeah, but we could see Kessler and Pineda just to give Glad a break since he's played both games 90 minutes. I'm trying to think of anybody else who might get a rest. Maybe Sam Vines. You play Herrera out there instead. Because Vines has played both games 90 minutes. So
I'd be fine with that because I wasn't and playing Araujo against Mexico because I wasn't overly impressed with them against Dominican Republic.
I wasn't either.
Maybe in the second half, whenever your outside strikers pinched in more and he had more ability to run up, it opened up more room for him. But I wasn't overly impressed.
Yeah, I wasn't either. But then, as an LA Galaxy fan, I've never really been that impressed with him. Anyhow, so I know people are really high on him. So, I guess I'm just being the Grinch of soccer, but
he's young. He can develop. We'll see. But just that one going off that game, I just wasn't overly impressed.
I'm just saying, yeah, you can be nice and say, well, he'll develop. I mean, people say that about everybody.
It's true.
They said it about Freddie Adu, and he developed right into a nobody who plays in like whatever, 8th division in whatever country he lives in.
Not to jump on that, but man, that was a frustrating case.
Yes, well, that was one.
Promising.
I'm just saying, by the time you're like 20 and 21, or you're getting around there, and you're very close to what you're going to be, unless seriously you're a late bloomer. And there are not a lot of late bloomers out there. There really aren't. I mean, you can name them on 2 hands, honestly. And so this whole idea that, oh, he's only 20, he'll figure it out. Oh, he's only 19, he'll get better. Well, okay.
Well, I feel like sometimes getting better is just developing confidence. Like I thought Araujo wasn't that overly confident in what he was doing out there. He was trying to make some very consistent, like some safe passes, and then when he did try to move forward, he would just, dribble into the end line or sideline or into the defender. It's just, I just didn't think he exuded confidence. Let's put it that way.
Confidence is a tricky word, but from the people I know around LA Galaxy, that's not something that Araujo has like a diminishing amount of. He seems to be a very confident guy.
I'm basing it solely off of this game.
Now, he may not have looked confident in the formation, in what he was being asked to do.
Could have been.
Yeah. I mean, but generally, Araujo is a pretty like, I'm the shit. I'm the shizzle, and that goes for some of his teammates on LAFC, his young teammates. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I think the Mexico game, they might rest some of their players too, some of their, their best players, because that game's meaningless. The game that matters is the next one. And, you have to win the next one, whether that's going to be Canada or Honduras. I don't really think El Salvador or Haiti have much of a shot, especially since Honduras is currently up 1-0 on El Salvador, which makes them out. And even though, embarrassingly for Canada, they tied Haiti today, they are 1 win, 1 tie. And Haiti are 1 loss, 1 tie. So it would really literally take a miracle for Canada and Honduras at this point not to go through.
Just basing it off of goal differential,
Yeah.
So say if Haiti wins their next one, they would have to make up a hell of a lot of goal differentials there.
Yeah, exactly. Goals. And I got to tell you, I'd rather play Honduras, frankly. Or no, I'm sorry. I'd rather play Canada. What the hell am I saying? I'd rather play Canada. Yeah. Canada's, outside of like 2 players, I'm not impressed. Really not. Honduras, there's some guys on the Honduras team that they're good. They're good players.
What's interesting about this, we just talked about Haiti and Canada having to flip-flop a lot of goals. It's fortunate that it works out in the sense that Haiti is playing El Salvador and Honduras is playing Canada. Yeah. So it's unlikely that you can flip a 5-goal differential.
No.
But could happen. I've seen crazier things. U.S. didn't qualify for the last World Cup, and that was a 1 in 60 possibilities,
Haiti's playing
all El Salvador. The possibilities had to work out for that. So it's possible that maybe Haiti runs up the scoreline.
On El Salvador?
Knows. I'm just saying.
No way. No way. El Salvador's not a good team, but they're not that bad. In fact, they really should win that game.
Well, neither team has scored a goal so far, and they've both led in 3 goals. So I'm just saying they're on par, currently speaking, as far as just their standings. That's a quality team by any means. But
quite embarrassing performance by Canada today. That's all I have to say. Canadians, don't hate me. Hey, do you have any other points about the Olympics?
No, I think we covered everything for me.
All right, good. We kept it relatively short then.
It's a rarity on us.
Oh, exactly.
Don't get used to this, guys, because it never happens.
Exactly. All right. Until the next time on the Straight Red Card, it's cocktail time.